What's going on, Broncos country? Welcome into the Broncos Breakdown by Chat Sports. It's your boy Moose hanging out with you today. Today is officially the day, my friends. Broncos training camp has started. We have some news to talk about surrounding day one of training camp, but you know what this means. Broncos football is officially back. I know it's just training camp, but training camp to me is the start of preseason. So now we only have, less than 7 weeks away until week 1 of the NFL football season, and we get to see all of our favorite Broncos players back in action. So if you're ready for Denver Broncos football, type DB4L in the comment section down below. I'm going to be giving out some shout-outs to the most loyal Denver Broncos fans in the chat down below. Start spamming those DB4Ls. What up, Josh? Great to see you, my guy. Let's get it. AJ, it's good to see you too, my friend. Get those DBLs going in the chat, guys. Here we go. There we go. Josh says DB4L. Matthew says DB4L. You guys are going to notice something. You see a couple of crowns there on the side of your name. We're going to get there in just a second. Zach says DB4L. Danny says DB4L. And I don't know what's happening right now to my... There we go. Bomb Squad says DB4L. Back to Josh saying DB4L. We got 56 people watching right now. I need as many DB4Ls down in that comment section below. If you want a shout out, I'm giving them. Larry saying DB4L. I see you, Larry. I see you, my guy. Bomb Squad again. AJ, one more time with a little DB4L. Keep spamming those. John saying DB4L. Carl getting in on the chat. T-Mac getting in on the chat. Shayla getting in on the chat. Great to see you, Shayla. Thanks for joining. I should have, yeah. Is it not there? Interesting. Try re-importing it again. It's definitely in there. I'm going to keep giving some shout-outs. Just 1 second, guys. Warren, what's up? Lewis, I see you. God, it's great to be back. It's great to be back with you guys talking Denver Broncos football. Now, we do have something that we want to try out. It's a brand new feature here from YouTube. I'm not entirely sure how it works yet. It just kind of hit YouTube. What was this, about not even a month ago, Alper, when it was the... It
had to be like less than a month ago.
It was very, very short time ago. In fact, the first time I saw this was during the NBA playoffs, and this had to have been right before the finals. So if it has been around for a little bit more than a month, it is not more than 2. But essentially, what it is called YouTube's Top Fans. Now, you're going to notice here, you see all of these crowns right here. You see number 1, you'll see a number 2, and you will see a number 3 if you are considered the top fan. So you're probably wondering, well, what is the top fan? Well, essentially, every single live chat that you get into, so every time we go live here on the Broncos Breakdown, the top-rated fans who are either spamming their comments in the comment section or super chatting are going to get XP points. Now, we're going to give you a photo here in just a second, basically kind of breaking down the rules and how you become a top fan, because we're not entirely so sure ourselves. It's a new initiative that YouTube has put out that we've decided to take on. But if you notice here, if you want to push that across the screen there, Alper, we can do that while you rock on. So YouTube's top fans look like this so far for at least this chat. So to become the top fan, you've got to gain XP points by commenting all stream long and super chatting. So if you do that, you're going to get the number 1 crown right by your name, which at this point is our guy Joshua Kirby. Then Bomb Squad coming in number 2, followed by Matthew Hunt at number 3. Now, that can change the more you spam, but if you super chat, it skyrockets you up the leaderboard. How cool is that? You need that XP. There we go. Now we're talking, producer Alper. I love to see it. What's up?
You put the wrong link in.
Okay. Well, I put the wrong link in. That's my fault. I apologize. So here's how it works. What is the leaderboard? A place for fans to stand out in the YouTube and Broncos community. The top 3 get special badges in the live chat. It resets every stream. So if you are the top commenter or the top-rated fan in this stream, doesn't necessarily mean that the next stream you're going to carry your crown over, literally. So how do you get up the leaderboard? Well, you'll need to collect experience points, or XP, and here's how you get them. Send in live chat messages, so keep on streaming, keep on chatting, keep on spamming, or you can send super chats or super stickers. Super chats being the number one way to stand out. In fact, for just $100, you get 5,000 XP points. And obviously, when you send in a $5 super chat, we don't know the exact metrics yet, but those will also get you XP points as well. So one more time, taking a look at our live leaderboard right now, which we'll keep up, not the entirety of the show, but we'll periodically check in to see who our top fans are in between our segments. This is what it looks like. Unfortunately, I think you do have to...
refresh?
Yes, you have to refresh in order to... It's not going to... It'll stay the same looking like that unless we refresh. So every time we go to it, we have to refresh. All right, cool. Good stuff. So every time we do that, producer Alper's going to refresh it, and then your YouTube top fans will show up for today's live stream. Super cool stuff, guys. Super cool stuff. Great new initiatives. Oh, and by the way, this will also carry over into the NFL season, meaning that I think, in my opinion, we should start keeping track of all of our top fans throughout each game, and at the very end of the season, we can crown the ultimate Denver Broncos fan. What do you think about that, producer
I like
Alper?
that.
You like
it's
that?
A whole season-long leaderboard. Who is going to be the best Broncos fan?
I love that, dude. That just sounds like it's something that you should do. By the way, we do have a bunch of interesting news bits before we start today's show that I want to bring up. Today's show, by the way, is going to be all about potentially bringing back Noah Fant, who got released by the Seattle Seahawks, some Broncos surprise cut candidates based off of a recent ESPN article, and, of course, which we're going to start with here in just a little bit, Broncos training camp news, because it did start today. But the other news that you need to know is that the Raiders just signed former Pro Bowl safety Jamal Adams. Now, he's a little bit cooked. He's a little bit old, a little bit past his prime, but for a depth piece, and the Raiders needed some safety help, it definitely could be of use to get a former really talented first-round and Pro Bowl player. What do you think, Alper? Do you give a flying shit about the Raiders?
I mean, no, but Jamal Adams is washed. There's a
Facts.
reason why he was gotten rid of by every other team in the NFL. He's been a journeyman at this point. It's not your Jets Jamal Adams, where he was one of the best defensive backs in football. He's old. He's at the end of his career, and, I mean, low risk, high reward signing for the Raiders, but I don't see it impacting them much.
I couldn't have said that better myself, my friend. By the way, shout out to producer Alper, who is joining us on the ones and twos. Dylan, the producer that you have known that has been doing our Broncos live streams, is on vacation. So Alper, who is our Patriots Today host.
I infiltrated a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, you infiltrated. So here's what we need. Let's get a couple of boo Alpers down in the chat. That's That's ALPER. Boo Alper before we start our Broncos training camp news today.
And I'll make a deal with the
Go ahead.
Broncos fans.
I love a good deal.
For every 50, 100, I'll do 100 because I don't think they have it in them. I don't think the Broncos fans have it in them. For every $100 super chat, I'll shotgun whatever happy dads we have in the office today.
You guys want to make producer Alper drink?
$100.
$100 total. Doesn't have to be a specific one. And remember, if you send in your super chat, you skyrocket up the YouTube's top fan. So you get kind of like a 2 for the price of 1 in a sense. I think that's pretty cool. AJ getting in saying boo Alper. James saying boo Alper. Boo this man. Boo this man.
Yeah, I would say all of your comments are getting to me, so I would just say incomplete.
Enough of you. Enough of you right now. We don't need any more of that stuff. All right. So we got 52 people watching right now. Remember, today's show, we're going to talk a little bit about maybe potentially the Broncos bringing back Noah Fant. some surprise cut candidates based off of a recent ESPN article, and they left out one player in particular that I was shook. I couldn't believe they didn't add, or they have this guy not making the 53-man roster. And then finally, the one we're actually going to start with, kind of doing a little bit backwards here, is some Broncos training camp news. 2 Broncos players got up to the podium, did a little press conference, and they had some very glowing things to say about the Broncos heading into 2025. Oh, my gosh. My lunch is starting to come up on me. Whew. I got some.
Today.
It was pretty good. I got some severe indigestion going on. I probably shouldn't have drank that extra energy drink. I probably should have had some water.
I got the pre-workout going right after the show. But
I love it.
We do have 53 people in the chat right now and only 22 likes. So, Moose, we can't start the show yet without a couple more people hitting that thumbs up icon. So we'll start the show, when we get to 30?
I like 30. 30 seems like a good number.
Yeah,
so
we got 62 people in here. Let's get to 50% like rate. 30 of you guys, I know all 60 of you have not hit that thumbs up icon. So when we get to 30, we'll start the show for y'all.
You guys heard the Patriots Today host. If you want to shut him up and keep him off the mic, let's hit that like button. Hit that like button. We could start when we hit 30. Some Broncos training camp news. Again, only 2 players hitting the podium today. Pat Surtain and Mike McGlinchey both took to the podium, answered some questions from the Broncos media. Practices will begin tomorrow, so we'll have videos as well for you tomorrow surrounding everything that's going on at Broncos training camp. I believe it's the fans are allowed to go start seeing live practices on Friday. So the media is available to check out Broncos training camp tomorrow and Thursday. The fans are open to view everything on Friday. That's pretty cool. You got people saying do a flip.
Do a flip.
Do a flip.
Do a flip.
Alper, do a flip. Moose, do a flip. Do a barrel roll.
All right, we got 31 likes.
Appreciate that, Brian. Guys. You're the best, my friend. Brian says, best cast on YouTube, Moose Rocks. Well, I mean, hey, somebody had to say it, right?
You're not going to be yourself.
All right, my guys. Remember, YouTube's top fans, this is a brand new initiative starting here on the Broncos Breakdown. If you want to make sure that you're at the top of this list, which we will also scroll down and see where everybody ranks here a little bit later on, all you've got to do is either keep spamming in the chat or send in a super chat. It'll skyrocket you up the leaderboard. Now, let's get into some Broncos training camp news.
All right, let's do this.
Let's rock. The day is officially here, Broncos fans. The beginning of the 2025 season begins right now. Training camp is the start of Broncos football in 2025. Welcome into the Broncos Breakdown by Chat Sports. My name is Moose, and on today's episode, we're going to give you the latest from Broncos training camp, day 1. You're going to see a lot of this guy right here, our guy Zach Stevens from DNVR, basically kind of signifying that, yep, Broncos football is back. We cannot wait to get everything going. Wednesday and Thursday, you will see the media availability for Broncos training camp, with Friday opening up to the public. Now, on today's episode, only 2 players really did anything, and it wasn't even football related in the sense of getting on the field and practicing. But they did sound off on the 2025 season. They got up to the podium, and they decided that they were going to answer all the questions from the media members about what to expect from the Broncos team heading into the season. Those players being Pat Surtain and, of course, Mike McGlinchey. But we're back. We are so freaking back, guys. Broncos football, we're here. So hit that thumbs up button if you haven't already. Helps out the channel and puts more Broncos content on your YouTube timeline. Let's start with the itty-bitty news that I think kind of was mentioned in passing by Mike Kliss, who said Courtland Sutton did a drive-by kind of news dump to all of the Broncos media members, who basically just kind of said, hey, contract extension talks have been kind of ongoing between me and the Broncos, which is great to hear. And honestly, he's not going to get top 10 money. We know this. He's not a top 10 wide receiver in the NFL. But what you can fully expect is definitely more than $20 million a year. I think that's kind of like the baseline for what Courtland's going to be asking for. He might get slightly more than that, but I don't know that he'll end up getting top 10. Top 20 is a possibility. I think currently he's number 23 or 24 in the NFL. But this is, of course, good news. You want to make sure that your number one wide receiver is compensated fairly because he and your quarterback, who you're not paying anything to right now, are in unison, finally. And they want to be in unison. So making sure that Courtland Sutton gets compensated fairly before the wide receiver market gets completely reshaped and kind of restructured again is probably at the top of the priority list for the Denver Broncos. Now on to the press conferences. Pat Surtain was the first one to sound off. The captain of this team, the leader of this team. Pat Surtain is the best player on the Broncos. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And here's the good news. He feels great about this team. In fact, all of the comments that he wasn't making about himself being the defensive player of the year were all about how much he expects from this team in 2025, claiming that the amount of expectations that he's looking for is through the roof. Now, just a little bit more about PS2, the player. Do we really need to deep dive into all of his strengths and weaknesses? Because he's got all of the strengths and very little weaknesses. The one thing that I would actually challenge Pat Surtain to do in 2025 is to keep the same intensity that he kept in 2024 after he won Defensive Player of the Year. So clearly, having the lull of coming off of an amazing season, right? You kind of hear this like after a team wins a championship, they kind of go into a slump. That's something that individuals can experience as well. Pat Surtain, I don't think is going to happen to, but that would be the one goal that I have for PS2 is to keep the same intensity that you did last year. Because football-wise, skill-wise, athletically, there's really nothing that he needs to work on in his game. He's the best cornerback in the league, and it ain't close. The only other one you could maybe argue is Derek Stingley, but even he still needs a long way to go. Now, Zach Stevens, who I said you are going to be seeing a lot from, basically kind of summed up all of the thoughts and kind of sentences that Pat Surtain kind of reiterated at his press conference, basically saying that, one, Jahdae Barron has already shown that he's smart, savvy, and up-to-date on things. He's super impressed with the rookie and believes that he can play multiple positions, something that we've talked about on the show at multitude and at length is Jahdae Barron's versatility. He can play a little bit of the nickel corner. He can play the outside corner. You could even move him back to safety in a pinch if you absolutely needed to. And he also sounded off on Courtland Sutton, basically calling Courtland his brother. That's what he said. Courtland's my brother. And that we haven't even seen the best of Courtland Sutton yet and that he's ready to perform. One thing I'll say about Courtland Sutton is I've said on this show a couple of times that I believe he's in for the best season of his career, which would also warrant, going back to what we talked earlier about, that contract extension. But let's go back to that impressed with Barron thing for a second, because one of the videos that I put out earlier today was talking about the projected starting lineups from ESPN, who listed Pat Surtain, Jahdae Barron, and Jaquan McMillan as the starters for the Broncos. And they left out Riley Moss. And a lot of Broncos fans were like, well, Riley's the guy. But then a couple other guys were saying, well, no, Jaquan McMillan is the second best corner we have on this team. Either way, the Broncos are in really good hands because you could start Moss, you could start McMillan. You kind of have to start Barron unless something terrible happens during training camp, like an injury or he severely takes that, step back. But I think this is a great problem to have. Don't you? If you're arguing about which of these really talented players needs to be the starter, you're in a great spot. There's a lot of NFL teams that would love to be in the position the Broncos are in. You've got the number one corner in the league in PS2. You could start Jahdae Barron on the outside corner. But I personally believe it's going to go Pat Surtain, Riley Moss, Jahdae Barron as your 3 starters week 1. Jaquan McMillan will obviously come in as a rotational piece at multiple times throughout the game. And you could even see that week 2, 3, and 4, Sean Payton do some experimenting with Jaquan McMillan as a starter if he decides to move Jahdae out to cornerback 2. So let me ask you this. If you had to rank the Broncos cornerback room, scale it 1 to 32, with 32 being the absolute worst in the NFL, and number 1 being like they're all lockdowns, where would you have them? I have to have them top 5. I think you can't go any lower than 7, right? If you've got Pat Surtain in your room, you can't really go much lower than that. But I think the Broncos are in a really great spot creating that second no-fly zone. But either way, let me know in the comment section down below. Then we heard from our guy, Mike McGlinchey, right tackle for the Broncos, who talked about the continuity of the Broncos offensive line, who has gotten heaps of praise going into the 2025 season. In fact, he was sporting this super cool hat, which we're going to show you here in just a second. But let's talk about where the Broncos offensive line kind of stacks up in the NFL. Garrett Bowles, 14th out of 81 out of starting left tackles. Ben Powers right in the middle. Wattenberg, upper echelon. Quinn Miners is not born on February 27th or 77th, but that's supposed to say he's number 2 in the NFL, and he absolutely is. He's either the best or the second best guard in the entirety of the NFL. And then, of course, Mike McGlinchey coming in with that top half as well at 34 out of 81. So I look at this and I say the Broncos brought back every single starter from their offensive line in 2024. So the extra year of all playing together is going to do wonders for this offensive line and for Bo Nix, because he's ultimately the one that this benefits the most. Now, we're going to talk a little bit more about what Mike McGlinchey said about other Broncos players here in just a moment. But, my friends, it's leaving. Not this Broncos hat that I've definitely got on right now, which, by the way, super cool. It's out of stock right now on Fanatics. But this is leaving very, very soon. The Broncos draft hat. Now, you might be thinking, why are you promoting the draft? The draft is far over. Well, it's not really the draft hat. It's just the hat that the draft picks wore. So if you want to get your Broncos draft hat, do me a favor, go down to the comments and description of today's video. I've put the link there just for you so that you can snag this, because once it's gone, it is gone. You will not be able to get it anymore. Again, chatsports.com/Denver Draft. You can find this hat before it leaves for good and sport what all of the Broncos 2025 draft picks wore on draft night. So back to Zach Stevens for a second, who said Mike McGlinchey said that he feels like this Broncos team could be a championship-level team. Duh. And they needed to earn that. That is the most important thing. This isn't going to be handed to you because on paper your team looks better than the majority of the other NFL teams. This is going to be a tooth and nail dogfight every single week. Can't take any team for granted. And remember, this is what he kind of sported. This is what he was looking like today. I love his hat. It's that throwback, what's that? The throwback Broncos logo. He's looking lean. He's looking mean. He's looking chiseled. He answered every question flawlessly. They look like it's business as usual. And the word that he used was continuity. Because last year, bringing back all the starters from that offensive line seemed to prove that this Broncos team believes that highly in and of itself to go out and win a Super Bowl. The Broncos offensive line, this depth chart with the current backups that they've got and the starters, they know that if they all stay healthy and they all play together and they execute Sean Payton's game plan, they will not only win a playoff game, but they can make a very serious, deep playoff run. But he didn't just talk about the offensive line. He also talked about some additions the Broncos made in free agency, being his former teammates in San Francisco, Talanoa Hufanga and Dre Greenlaw, who, by the way, look outstanding in their Broncos uniforms, do they not? Now, I kind of want to sum up what Zach Stevens said about what Mike McGlinchey said about these guys. That bottom line right there. They're going to help us tremendously. It was a monster addition. Bingo. monster addition because when healthy, these two, they're Pro Bowl level players, Pro Bowl caliber players. Dre Greenlaw, outstanding. Probably the best number 2 middle linebacker in the entire NFL. The only reason he wasn't a number 1 on San Francisco is because he's playing behind future Hall of Famer Fred Warner. But 2023 and 2022, I just want to draw your attention to that. Look at those numbers. He's a blanket over the middle of the field. Can drop back in coverage. Needs to learn how to find his voice as the Mike linebacker and the leader of this defense. And same with Talanoa Hufanga, a very aggressive, hard-hitting, ball hawk safety, someone that can play up in the box but also drop back in coverage. And I know I've beat a dead horse, but the only thing that these two need to do is stay healthy. Because when they do that, if they do that, you are a scary, scary tandem. And this is a scary Denver Broncos defense. There's a reason that ESPN listed the Broncos as the 6th best roster in the NFL. The guys ahead of them, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Buffalo Bills, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Detroit Lions, and the Baltimore Ravens. That's it. All of those teams, by the way, can win a Super Bowl in 2025. So why not Denver? That is going to do it for us on today's episode. A reminder to like the video if you haven't, subscribe and join the Broncos Breakdown family, and as always, be cool. Easy like Sunday morning.
One down.
One down. One down. All right. Did we...
I'm just going to say, you got to mention Christian Gonzalez as a part of the best quarterbacks in football.
Can you stop? He's barely top. Well, he is top 5. I'll give you top 5.
Easily.
If I had to rank my top corners right now in the NFL, I would go Surtain 1, Stingley 2. I'd probably go...
I'm putting Christian Gonzalez.
I'd probably go Ramsey 3, Gonzo 4, Sauce 5.
Yeah, okay.
That would probably be my top 5.
Also, the Raiders didn't also sign Jamal Adams. They signed a wide receiver.
Who'd they sign?
Philip Dorsett.
Who?
The former Patriot.
I know.
Super Bowl champion.
I'm messing with you.
Philip Dorsett.
Isn't he like crazy old?
He's 32.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's like ancient for a wide receiver.
Oh, man. Here's our leaderboard. We got
Let's
Joshua.
take a look at our leaderboard.
Joshua's still up there.
Josh Kirby killing the game right now, my friends. And remember, if you want to skyrocket up to that YouTube top fan, super chatting is the easiest way to do that. All you got to do is send in a little $5, a little $10 if you want, and your name will skyrocket. Can we take a look at some of the other rankings on that? Yeah, I know we can scroll, right? So we can see who the top... There we go. So find your name in this list here really quick if you can. Let's only go through like the top 20.
We can go through more than 20? All right.
Yeah, you can go down to 50. Wow. Yeah, crazy stuff. YouTube rolling out a brand new initiative if you are just joining us.
Bomb Squad at 7. David T at 8. Matthew Hunt at 9. John Emery and James and Mastermind.
Look at that. Very nice.
12.
Look at all those names. And remember, this could be you. You can either keep spamming or send in a super. Aiden, I appreciate... Whoa! We got a DB4L Bossman J. Bang! $50 super chat from our guy, Bossman J, coming in with a banger.
I'll bring that up in a second.
That's got to skyrocket him up to first place.
Look at the leaderboard.
There he is. Booyah. Told you. Everybody spam Bossman down in the chat below. Mastermind saying ba-ba-ba-ba-bang.
There we go with Bossman J. What did he say? All right.
Let's see what he says. Moose, good afternoon, buddy. Broncos boss baby growing strong. Broncos Unchained podcast tomorrow, 5 p.m. Broncos time, 6 p.m. Central. So Mountain Time, 5 p.m., 6 p.m. Central for Broncos Unchained podcast starting tomorrow if you guys want to tune in for Boss Man Jay. But also, shout out to Boss Man Jay's lovely wife who is pregnant with their first child. That's why he's calling it Broncos Boss Baby. So it is their first. Congratulations to them. Let me check our Slack here real quick. I think we just got something.
Nothing important.
Is it? Okay, good.
It's nothing important.
Sweet. I just want to make sure that we're not getting stuff and I'm not checking it. You know what I mean? Sean, I also miss Petey. Petey was a good dude. Petey was a very, very good dude. But if you still want to see him, he's still doing videos for the Cleveland Browns report. So if you want to go check that out, go ahead.
I like Moose more.
Broncos country. I'm not going to say it. AJ said it in the chat. I'm not going to say it. You can say it. That's all you.
Broncos country. Let's ride. I don't care if you guys don't like it. I'm going to say it.
I thought it was cool. Oh, well, thank you, Sean. I appreciate that. All right. Yeah, Petey is doing trivia now. That's his new career.
Yeah,
he's decided to join the trivia world, so he's kind of helped run a trivia company. That was his calling. That's what he wanted to do.
Boss Man Jay says he missed the top fan rankings. Oh, brother.
Oh, we can't miss. Yeah, he's the only one that super chatted, so we got to put it up for him. There he is, atop the leaderboard. Boss Man Jay coming in at number 1. Sorry, Josh, you're number 2, but you can still be number 1. Keep spamming, or if you want to really catch up and get a ton of XP, super chat. All right, our second, you want to put up the Today's Show list 3 here, and we'll go through one more time what our next couple of ones are. So we obviously just went through the Broncos training camp news. Now, Broncos fans, especially if you've been a Broncos fan now for, let's say, 15, 20-plus years, you guys know who Noah Fant is. I feel like everybody should. Well, he got released by the Seattle Seahawks. Is there a chance the Broncos decide to bring him back? Should they bring him back is actually the better question. Well, I actually decided that I was going to kind of remain Switzerland in this one. Kind of neutral. Yes, kind of neutral. I listed 2 reasons why I believe they should bring him back, but also a couple of reasons why they shouldn't bring him back. I'm going to let Broncos country decide if they want him back.
He's part of the Wilson trade, correct?
He was a part of the Russell Wilson trade, yep. A lot of good that did, Broncos fans. All that dead cap money, but Sean Payton's wizard turned this franchise around completely from the time that he came into Mile High to where we're at now. It is a night and day difference.
Kind of helps it out a little bit. You get rid of Drew Lock, you bring in Russell Wilson, you kind of get a decent draft pick, and then that brings in Bo Nix, and you guys already focused on the defense, and now Bo Nix is on that rookie contract, and it's time to load up and try to make a Super Bowl run.
To answer John's question really quick, why did they release Noah Fant? Because they drafted a kid named Elijah Arroyo from the University of Miami, and basically told Fant that we kind of trust the kid. And it saved them $9 million against their cap in 2025. So when you look at the potential savings and when you look at who they drafted, it just kind of, writing was on the wall for Noah Fant in Seattle. But if you think for a second that his numbers sucked, like really bad, you're mistaken. He actually was not that bad, which is why I believe there is a potential for Noah Fant to come back to Denver. But we'll get into it here in just a second.
We got a super chat.
We did get a super chat. We'll hit that real quick, and then we'll start on our bringing back Noah Fant to Mile High. Coming in from David T. Oh, David. He just said $5, which is what he sent in. David, next time you want to throw a message in there, do it, my friend. Make sure you say, hey, Moose, you look like a scrub today. Or, I love the show. Either way, anything in between, write your message down below, but we do appreciate you for super chatting. Thank you, my friend.
All right, let's get into it.
Let's get into Noah Fant, talking about him potentially coming back to Mile High. It's going to be good. Let's do it. Ready when you are.
You usually play the intros?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't.
Sorry.
All right.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good.
Here we go.
Is it possible the Broncos could be signing Noah Fant and bringing him back to Mile High? Should they bring him back to Mile High? Welcome in Broncos country to the Broncos Breakdown by Chat Sports. My name is Moose. On today's episode, we're going to explore, maybe potentially, bringing back the former Broncos first-round pick in 2019. Now, I'm just going to ask it straight away because you guys are expecting it. I know you're expecting it. I just want to make sure it is out of the way. Should the Broncos bring back Noah Fant? Yes or no? This should be your initial answer to this question because later on in today's episode, I'm going to ask you a question after we go through all of the pros and cons to potentially bringing him back to Mile High. Either way, let me know in the comment section down below. So let's rewind it to July 20th, which is just 2 days ago. Jordan Schultz was the first one on this. The Seahawks have released tight end Noah Fant, a young, talented player who should be an intriguing option for the remainder of the NFL, which begs the question, should Denver consider bringing back Noah Fant? Because during his time with the Broncos, he really wasn't that bad. I mean, the statistics will kind of show exactly what I'm talking about. But let's bring it back to Noah Fant, the player, for just a second. A former first-round pick by Denver in 2019. Funny enough, he was picked 20, which is exactly what Jahdae Barron was. He spent his first 3 seasons with the Broncos, and he was, of course, a part of that Russell Wilson trade to the Seahawks. Now, I know that there are a lot of Broncos fans that I'm sure are saying, well, we got rid of him for a reason, so why on earth would we bring him back? That is a great question, one that deserves an answer, a 2-part answer. The first reason, depth at tight end. Who do you have outside of Evan Ingram? Adam Troutman, Lucas Kroll. Come on, Nate Adkins. I mean, hypothetically, let's just throw it out there. Evan Ingram gets hurt or is not at all what he cracked up to be while he was in Jacksonville. So he's a disappointment for whatever reason. Who is your next option at Broncos tight end? Troutman? Kroll? That's the same thing you rolled out with in 2024, and it wasn't nearly good enough. So yes, Evan Ingram is a great addition. I'm not disputing that. And I don't think for a second that you would bring back Noah Fant to be your tight end 1. Evan's got that locked up. The last 4 seasons, his career has proven that. When he's healthy, he could be a top 10 tight end in the league, maybe even top 7. I mean, 114 receptions for a tight end is wicked work. He almost plays like a bigger-bodied wide receiver. But he's also only been the only change to this tight end room. So if you lost him, or he wasn't nearly good enough as what you thought he was going to be, you're still stuck with him for another year. You might want to bring in another depth piece. You could potentially cut someone. You could trade for someone. It doesn't matter. The only thing that you have to at least acknowledge is there isn't anyone else in this Broncos tight end room that is as productive as Noah Fant has been. That's just the truth. But what's the second reason besides depth? Well, he's cheap. He's really cheap. Not only his salary, but his cap hit is surprisingly low for a player who has, some pretty decent upside. You guys know what it was. I mean, it wasn't ever necessarily reached to his full potential in Denver, but he wasn't a bad player by any means. So Bob Condata, I think is how you say it, he's a beat reporter for the Seattle Seahawks, basically kind of talked about the structuring of Noah Fant's deal with Seattle. And basically, he said he was guaranteed a non-salary of $8.49 million this year. And the move saves $8.91 million against the cap. So we'll call it a total of $9 million that he was due in 2025. Well, if you look back at what he did in 2024, it really wasn't that much either. He only made $7.5 million in 2024 altogether. So that's his base salary, his signing bonus, and some incentives. He only made 7.5, so he was only due $9 million. So he got slightly more expensive in 2025 after an injury, but still is pretty cheap. And the Broncos have the available cap space to do it. They have a little more than $12 million in available cap right this moment. That's before any of the cuts. That's before any of the trades that are bound to happen throughout the season. So the Broncos, that's only going to start going up. You could sign Noah Fant for a cheap deal and as a depth piece, rotational tight end right behind Evan Ingram. It makes a lot of sense from a monetary perspective and from a fit perspective. He's also a really good complement to what Evan Ingram does really, really well. But for every positive, there, of course, is a negative. So coming up, why the Broncos shouldn't go out and sign Noah Fant. And there's a couple reasons why I think this stands out to me and to other Broncos fans, why this might not be the best interest for the Broncos. Now, before I do that, guys, the Broncos hat is back. No, not this one that I'm wearing right now. The other Broncos hat, the draft hat that all the Broncos players wore at the 2025 NFL Draft. But it's leaving soon. I got the push noti from Fanatics earlier today saying, hey, this is going to be gone really, really quickly, so get your orders in while you can. So if you go to chatsports.com/Denver Draft, you can purchase this hat for yourself. Now, this sweet blackout hat that I'm wearing right now is currently out of stock. Otherwise, I'd be pushing that on you because it is really sweet. But I also really love this hat, and I'm a hat aficionado. So I put this in the comments and description of today's video just for you. So if you want to go start doing your, I guess, pre-season hunting for all the best Broncos gear, make sure you start with this Broncos hat and go to chatsports.com/Denver Draft or in the comments and description of today's video. So why shouldn't the Broncos go out and sign Noah Fant? Well, I'll tell you the first reason is the statistics. Not with Denver, but with Seattle. Because like I said, with Denver, his statistics were actually pretty good. This is in 3 years. Take a look at this. He had 249 targets, 170 receptions. Again, 3 seasons, by the way. 1,900 yards, 10 touchdowns with an average of 11.6. These aren't earth-shattering numbers, but they certainly aren't bad. In fact, I think anybody would take this right now out of all of the other Broncos tight ends not named Evan Ingram. So he was far better in Denver than all 3 of the Broncos 2024 tight ends combined. We can throw that out there. That's common knowledge. So, again, it's kind of looking like this could be a pretty good, gearing up for Fant coming back to Denver, right? Not so fast. Because his stats with Seattle significantly dropped. Now, they didn't fall off a cliff, but they weren't great. Only 170 targets, so he had the same amount of targets as he had receptions in Denver. 130 receptions, 1,400 yards, which if you do the math over 3 seasons is what? Like not even 500 yards a season? 5 touchdowns with an average of 11. So all of those numbers went down. The clear observation is this. He's fallen off slightly, but nothing that wouldn't warrant a cheap 1-year deal. Because I'm not posturing that Noah Fant should get a 2 or 3 year contract deal with the Denver Broncos. Be a 1-year deal. He just got cut. You want to come back to the city that you were drafted to, play a year, and potentially earn yourself a contract for another team. Why not? Well, the second reason, the injury. Because last year was really the first time in his entire career that he had any real significant time missed in an NFL season. He had this really bad groin strain in 2024, which, as someone who has had a strained groin when he was playing sports, it ain't fun. I'll just say that. Makes movement very, very hard. It can get very uncomfortable, and you really don't have any sort of mobility. He did miss 3 games and only started 9. So from the time that he went to Seattle and started all 17 games to now in 2024, where he only started 9 and missed 3, then getting cut, it's kind of looking like he's on the decline, right? Well, there's another reason why I think it might not make a whole lot of sense. The rookie. Not just Elijah Arroyo in Seattle, but Caleb Lohner in Denver. And this, to me, speaks volumes. And I'll tell you why. You drafted Lohner for a reason. It wasn't to be the tight end 1. At least not yet. It was to draft and develop. The freakish athletic traits are there. The football skill is not. So learning behind guys like Evan Ingram, Adam Troutman, Lucas Kroll, and, of course, from Sean Payton, is only in the benefit of Caleb Lohner. He really can't miss out on anything. It's kind of a win-win situation. He gets drafted after only playing 4 collegiate games in his entire career. So he was a basketball player. But there's a clear sign to at least me if they were to go out and sign Noah Fant. If the Broncos signed Fant, it would be an indicator that Lohner isn't even close to ready. And then you could make the argument, well, we wasted a draft pick, albeit a 7th-round pick. So that is where it comes into kind of that whole, schematics and the bigger picture right there. So if you were to go out and express serious interest in re-signing Noah Fant, it's clear that Caleb Lohner isn't cracked up to be because he still has to make the 53-man roster. So now knowing all that you know and me kind of breaking it down piece by piece, would you still like to bring back Noah Fant to Mile High? Type sign or pass in the comment section down below. I'm going to stake my claim here. I know I said I was going to be Switzerland in all of this, but for a 1-year cheap deal, I think it could provide an excellent 1-2 punch for Bo Nix if he had Evan Ingram and Noah Fant. So I'm saying sign, but only on a 1-year deal and only for like $5 million, maybe 6 at the most, total. Everything else, if he wanted a 10-year, or not a 10-year, a $10 million contract or what he was making in Seattle, I think I'd pass. But for a cheap deal, why not? That is going to do it for us on today's episode of the Broncos Breakdown by Chat Sports. A reminder to subscribe if you haven't, like the video if you haven't, and as always, be cool.
I'd do it.
You do it?
I would do it. Get that 12 personnel with Bo Nix.
12 personnel is it's the new way of the NFL. Ben Johnson proved that to be very effective while he was in Detroit. Sean Payton is an offensive genius, so I'm sure he's got plenty of 12 personnel packages lined up, but having more talent at the tight end position to run a more operative 12 personnel in the Broncos' best interest. So I'm saying yes.
I don't know if Caleb Lohner would be, 7th-round picks aren't ready. They're never ready. So I would
Isaiah Pacheco was ready. Not to bring the Chiefs into this, of course, but it happened. I see what you're saying. I see your point.
It's an outlier. But overall, Noah Fant and Evan Ingram, I'd do that in a heartbeat.
I like it. Let's see what people are saying right now before we start up our next little one here. Danny says sign. AJ says pass. James says sign. Zach says sign. Josh says sign. AJ says sign it for a cheap deal and then cut Adam Troutman. Boss Man says $3 million and $3 million in incentives, so he's saying sign.
That would be a good deal.
Boss Man does say that Drew Lock and Geno Smith are not Bo Nix, so it could be that Noah Fant gets the true quarterback that he deserves. That's not a bad point.
I think Geno is terrible.
I don't think he's terrible. I just don't think I think he's mid. I think he's the most mid quarterback in the NFL. For every one good game Geno Smith has, he'll have one bad game. Yes. You'll never know what you're going to get. I completely agree with that. Let's take a look one more time at our updated leaderboard, shall we?
I know David is up there.
Look at that. Ooh, my ear just popped from my flight. Oh, that is wonderful. I can hear again. Let's take a look. Boss Man clearly sitting at number 1. David at number 2. Josh Kirby still sitting in that number 3 spot. Take a look at all of those XP points that they've got. Boss Man's got, what? Is that 2575?
Yes, it is.
My eyes are really, really bad. David coming in with 200 or 325?
325.
325, and then Josh with 100 XP. It's looking like Boss Man's going to run away with this. Unless somebody can come in and match that super chat. And remember, if you get to $100, Alper's shotgunning a Happy Dad. At least one. You thought I forgot about that, didn't you?
Yeah,
I didn't forget.
Maybe a little. I told you, I didn't think the Broncos fans had it in them.
Well, they've got it in them.
I don't know. Yeah, we'll see.
We're a little more than halfway there. We're a little more than halfway there. But remember, that's how you get on the show. Now, we aren't going to do a mailbag today because there was a recent article written by ESPN, Mr. Producer Alper, that was kind of previewing the Broncos 2025 season. So I started reading this article, and I came across a supplementary article inside of that article. Take a shot for every time I've said that. However, when you go to this corresponding one, it lists all of the 53-man roster projections for the Broncos in 2025. And I thought, right then and there, I'm like, ooh, I'm going to go through what ESPN projects, and I'm going to give the guys that they have the Broncos cutting. So we got 4 surprise cut candidates coming your way for the Broncos heading into the 2025 season. Cut candidates is always a polarizing video because everybody's got an opinion on the players that should or should not be cut.
AJ Cortez says, I will super chat $20 if Moose does a flip on camera.
I can't do a flip.
Do a flip.
What else could I do for $20? All right, relax. Yeah, I get that. That's funny. Ha 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 ha. Cover the camera for a Bo Nix edit.
Oh, that'd be a good one. Have you seen those on TikTok?
Yes, I have. They're pretty cool. They're definitely really cool. Very cool indeed. So remember, we're going to do Broncos surprise cut candidates to end the show today.
All right.
And believe it, actually, for Broncos fan for life, PJ Locke is not on this list for surprise cut candidates. Just to let you know. 20 push-ups for $20, I would do that. Hell, I'd do that for $5.
I need to work on my chest a little bit. Today's chest day.
Today is not chest day. Today is shoulders day.
Well, I skipped yesterday. I do chest and shoulders in the same day.
Everybody's got their own thing. Everybody's got their own thing. All right. Let's get our last cut in here for the day. No. Incorrect. Flip them around. Maybe that's my fault.
No, it's not. It's my fault.
Yeah. Just the numbers are correct, just in the wrong spot.
All right, I'll fix it.
20 push-ups, says John Emery.
Push-ups is not a lot of push-ups. It's not a lot of push-ups.
AJ says chest day, air day.
If you do push-ups, it is. Alrighty. Let's make
Ingram and Fant would be wicked, says Bossman Jay. I think it would be a clear upgrade. I don't know about wicked. Because to me, wicked means like that's a top 6 duo. I don't know that they would. But it would certainly be a hell of a lot better than anything you've put out the last couple of years.
KC.
Sorry about this, guys. 1 second. We're going to start up here just a little bit. Some technical stuff that we're working through.
We checked them beforehand.
I know. That's my fault. That's my fault. I'll give it to you.
All right, give me 2 seconds.
You're good. You are good.
There we are. No.
That's not even. Hey, we did get a super chat though. That's nice.
Oh, I know why.
Oh. That's a lot. 1 second, guys.
226.
John, we see your super chat. We appreciate it. We'll get it up on screen here in just a second for you.
All right, there we go.
No, it's still incorrect. That might be my fault. It should be the other way around. 226 and 236 should be flipped. That's what I was saying.
Oh.
That's my fault. There we go. That's what we're looking for.
Oh.
Yes.
You gotta be more descriptive.
That's my fault. I apologize. All right, let's get John Emery up on screen, and then we'll start our show about Broncos surprise cut candidates. John, thank you for the $20 super chat, getting us to $75 on today's show. You are a real one. A little mile-high salute just for you, John. And next time, if you want to throw a little message in there as well, by all means, do so.
$25 away.
$25 away for making Alpert drink. I love that. I love that. Here we go. Oh, we got another one. Yeah, we'll get to that afterwards. All righty. Are we ready?
Yes, we are.
It's a cold open. Yeah. Oh, duh. That's all right. Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
Before we start today's episode, Broncos Country, a little preseason sub-battle update just for you. We are still 10 behind the Kansas City Chiefs, albeit we have completely gained up to them, and we've gained a significant amount of subscribers. So before we get to our very first preseason game, which is in the middle of August, I need you to hit that subscribe button, lock us in for free Broncos content all season long. You know football's back when ESPN starts projecting 53-man rosters for each of the 32 NFL teams, and the Broncos just so happen to be one of those teams in the NFL. Welcome in Broncos Country to the Broncos Breakdown by Chad Sports. My name is Moose, and yes, ESPN projected the full Broncos 53-man roster, but surprisingly, I at least read between the lines. I looked at the guys that they left out, and they left out a couple of surprising names. So, today's episode is going to be cut candidates for the Broncos. 4, to be exact, surprise cut candidates, which we'll get into here in just a moment. Now, the first couple of ones, pretty easy stuff. Bo Nix ain't getting cut, neither is Jarrett Stidham. I know that technically the Broncos have Sam Ehlinger on the roster right now, but truthfully, I think the Broncos are going to ride with 2 active quarterbacks. They're going to end up moving Sam Ehlinger to the practice squad and then call him up if he needs to come up in a pinch. So I can't really consider that to be a surprise cut candidate. But let's go to the running backs. R.J. Harvey, J.K. Dobbins, Audric Estime, Jaleel McLaughlin. There's a fullback listed right there, Michael Burton. So who's been left off this list? Well, leading into our first surprising cut candidate, Tyler Bidet. Now, Bidet didn't see the field much last year. I don't know why, but he didn't put up the greatest of numbers when he was on the field because, frankly, he didn't touch the ball that much. He only had 12 touches total for 110 total yards. He did score 1 touchdown. But outside of that, he didn't see the field much. But Bidet is really good in pass protection. So he does offer some upside for the Broncos running back room. In fact, outside of Bidet, he might be the best one out of all of them. There is one big problem, though. J.K. Dobbins is also a very good pass protector, and he's a better player. So Bidet could be your first Broncos surprise cut candidate because of the addition of J.K. Dobbins. Now moving on to the wide receivers. Again, you're not going to see much crazy stuff here. Courtland Sutton, Troy Franklin, Marvin Mims, Devon Vele, Pat Bryant, Trent Sherfield. Nothing really to write home about, so we're going to move on to the tight ends. Then you have Evan Ingram, Adam Troutman, Lucas Krull, Nate Adkins. Another name left off the list. It's a rookie, actually. Caleb Lohner coming in as the next surprising cut candidate. Now, I know what you're thinking. How can you cut a rookie that hasn't made the team yet? Well, technically, you can cut any player that's signed a contract. If they have put pen to paper, they are a part of the roster. So Caleb Lohner is technically on the team right now, albeit he hasn't made the 53-man roster. So if he were to get cut, the Broncos could end up bringing him back to the practice squad. Now, they would end up having to put him on waivers, and if he got picked up by another team, then sayonara. But if nobody picks him up, they could bring him back to the practice squad and just let him develop his talents and his skill, being he's not really a football player quite yet, right? Basketball player turned football player, got the freakish athletic traits that everybody loves. So Lohner is technically a cut candidate on this list because he didn't even make the 53, according to ESPN. I should at least also point out here that before everybody comes to slaughter me in the comments section, these are ESPN's projections. So ESPN listed all of these players. I'm just telling you who they left out. So do you agree with ESPN's list so far? Yes or no? Let me know in the comment section down below. I'm going to say it's not the worst, but it's also not the best. Let's go to the offensive line. Again, pretty standard, pretty straightforward. You're not going to see, anything crazy here. 9 guys for the Broncos offensive line that end up making the 53-man roster. I don't think there's anything wrong with this whatsoever. I was really hoping that you wouldn't see anybody like, Matt Pert off this list. But luckily, ESPN at least now gave some continuity there for the Broncos offensive line. We should move on now to the defense because this is where the other two come into play for surprising cut candidates, one of them being the most shocking on this list. So let's get into that here in just a moment. Now, before I do that, I do have to tell you guys all about our amazing sponsor at Fanatics. And we have this draft hat that is leaving very, very soon. So if you want to go out and wear the Broncos hat that all of the 2025 NFL draft picks wore for the Broncos, you can do it with this link that I've put in the comments and description of today's video, chatsports.com/Denver Draft. Again, it's not this super cool blackout hat, which I love, by the way. Shout out to my dad who bought this for me. But this is also a really sweet hat. So it is leaving. And if you want to get it, you use this link that I've put in the comments and description of today's video, but they also have a bevy of products that you can choose from as well. Let's go to the defensive line. Zach Allen, DJ Jones, John Franklin Myers, Malcolm Roach, and Ayoma Uwazurike. Again, no real issues with this, so we're going to move right past the defensive line. Here's where we start to get a little bit crazy. The edges. Nick Bonito, Jonathan Cooper, Jonah Ellis, Savion Jones, and Q Robinson are listed as your edges. Now, I do want to point out this. Most of these guys are listed as linebackers on the depth chart, but they play like edges. So does another player that was left off of this list. Dondre Tillman doesn't make the 53 according to ESPN. What? You do realize that coming out of the USFL just a year ago and finding his way onto an NFL roster is in and of itself incredibly impressive. But more so than that, when he was on the field, he was really good. So I'm not so sure that I buy that. I'm not so sure that, he's going to be one of those players that doesn't make this roster. Tell me why Q Robinson gets that nod when he's most likely going to be a special teams player. So I'd put back D'Andre Tillman based off of what he did in 2024. He played in 12 games and made the most of what he was able to do when he was on the field. Now, I know what you're thinking. Oh, well, he's actually a linebacker, so you can't really put him with the edges. Like I said, you're arguing semantics at this point because they're not technically listed as edge. They're listed as linebackers. I'm not sure that edge is technically a legitimate position in the NFL. You can call everybody a linebacker or a defensive end. But we'll call them edges because they specifically get after the quarterback. Either way, Peyton and Joseph glowed over Tillman. They had such great things to say about him. They love his tenacity. They love his high motor. They love the skill set that he brings. He might not be the biggest, fastest, strongest, or most technically sound player out of all of the Broncos' edges, but what he does offer is that heart that you're looking for and proven productivity. So why you'd keep him off this list, I will never know. But that's what ESPN listed. So there's your third surprising cut candidate from ESPN. Moving on to the linebackers. Dre Greenlaw, Alex Singleton, Justin Stranad, and Drew Sanders. You could also lump D'Andre Tillman in with the linebackers as well. I wouldn't have a problem with it, but these are the four right now, no issues with. Then we move on to the corners. Pat Surtain, Jahdae Barron, Jaquan McMillan, Riley Moss, and Chris Abrams-Drain. There's another name that you've probably seen quite a bit of times if you're a Broncos fan over the last couple of years that isn't on this list. Our last one, Damari Mathis. Not making the 53 according to ESPN. Now, I wanted to do a little bit more here in terms of a deep dive as to why I believe and why other outlets that cover the Broncos believe that Damari Mathis wouldn't make the 53 in 2025. Here's what they said about his play in 2024 from the Mile High Report. There are a lot of things that could have been said about his 2024 season, and some of them are positive. He did not play at all in the first 6 games due to the starting the season injured, and then played some on both defense and special teams throughout the most of the rest of the season. Vance Joseph was willing to use Mathis in select situations, especially against certain opponents like the Panthers, the Colts, and the Chargers. He amassed 80 defensive total snaps on the year as a whole and was targeted 6 times with 1 completion and 3 tackles. This is the one that I can most likely see happening out of all of these. And the reason I say that is because the Broncos clearly wanted to go and make this cornerback room even stronger. So you're looking at right now a rotation of either Jahdae Barron, who you took in the first round, or Jaquan McMillan, who is a far better player than Damari Mathis. I mean, the writing's kind of on the wall. No, I know what you're thinking. Depth, depth, depth. Well, at this point, anybody can be a depth piece and have the next man up mentality. So they went with Chris Abrams-Drain. It's just one of those things, like, if you're not playing that great and you start off injured, if you don't make it, that's the game. It's just the way it is. So Surtain, Barron, McMillan, Moss, and Abrams-Drain, I have no problems with this. And I do wish Damari Mathis the best of luck if he ends up getting cut. We'll see what happens after training camp, and we'll see when the roster cutdowns come and the 53 is released. But right now, this is what ESPN predicts. Final group on the defense, the safeties. Brandon Jones, Talanoa Hufanga, PJ Locke, JL Skinner, and De'Laren Turner-Yell. I don't have any problems with this. I did note that Sam Franklin Jr. is not on this list, the free agent that the Broncos signed earlier this year from Carolina. But again, he was a kind of last-minute signing, kind of a player that hasn't really done a whole lot in his career, just more of a depth piece for the Broncos. So again, I'm not going to argue these depth pieces being cut or why they should or should not be cut, as long as it's not a guy like PJ Locke, who I believe can actually add some solid reps as a depth player. Then the special teams, Will Lutz as your kicker, Jeremy Crawshaw as your punter, and Mitchell Fabroni coming in at long snapper, which, again, you're not going to complain about anything special teams related from ESPN. And that is your 53-man roster projection from the worldwide leader in sports. So do me a favor, grade it. 53-man roster projection. Take out your red pen. A, B, C, D, or F. B, C+, somewhere in that. I'm going to say solid B- or a B. I didn't think it was too bad with some obvious issues here with Andre Tillman not making the roster. But you know what? Hey, it's not my call. I'm not there at the ESPN headquarters writing these articles. That will do it for us on today's episode. A reminder to help us beat the Chiefs in our preseason sub battle. Like the video if you haven't. And as always, be cool.
There we go. I graded I don't know the deep into the Broncos roster.
Yeah.
I'll give it a B.
Sorry, I was wiping all that sweat off my ear because it's like a pool in here.
There's a fan in here.
I know, but it's on me right now.
Oh.
It's still that hot in this room. We got 2 more Super Chats, and we hit $100. Woo!
Oh, damn it.
I love it. Boss Man Jay getting us one step closer. You know what I got to do? I'm putting it in production. Actually, I'm going to put it in Dallas HQ here.
Oh, shout out to David T. He says, bring in Fant. Troutman is not our answer as a tight end, too. God damn it. Boss Man Jay, you're just leading the lead. Oh, and now we're there. Oh, Boss Man Jay, where are you at on the leaderboard, brother? I'm going to check that. Alrighty. Boss Man Jay going up to 4,000 XP.
Yeah, he's unbelievable.
And it was due to that super chat.
Bang! There he is. Closer. He said closer. $20. And then, of course, the one that set us over the edge. The next one. The $10 that he sent in. Where he said, now we're there. And Alper, the Patriots Today host, who so casually said that he didn't believe that Broncos country could get us to $100 in Super Chats, has to fulfill his side of the bet.
Yes.
Which, as soon as we get our delivery guy in here with our happy dad, Alper's going to shotgun one us. Oh, there he is. Marshall Green, the host of Big Blue Giants Now, coming in to force Alper to cash in on his lost bet.
He's lost a lot today.
L. Alper. Thank you, my friend.
Oh, man. Oh, great. Wonderful.
We got a little grape happy dad. Grape flavor. All right, here you go.
Well, do we have a key?
Here you go.
Oh, my God. You actually do.
Take it. You should actually, there's a little, there might be there you go. You can use that to pop it open.
All right, hold on.
Glug, 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 says Joshua Kirby. Moose is turning into stew, Josh says. Oh, but hold on. You got to make sure that you're on camera for that. There you are. Good.
I was just trying to...
Okay, good. I don't want you cheating over there.
I am a Patriots fan.
You are a Patriots fan. You don't cheat. That's right. All right, everybody spam chug down in the comment section down below before Alper starts his little shotgun of the happy dad. Yeah, why not? Bring us up dual cam. Let's see what we can do. Everybody spam chug that is still in the chat watching Alper get ready to shotgun his $110 happy dad. Shout out to everybody. All right, bring us up. You're not going to bring us up dual cam?
I was just going to come up there.
Oh, that's fine. Here we go. Joshua's spamming chug. James is spamming chug. Here he comes. Da 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 da.
All right. Cheers to everybody.
Wow, that was fast. That was real fast. Good job. Good for you.
You made good flavor.
I'm not nearly that fast.
Yeah, I'm fast at a lot of things.
Shut up. All right. So here's what we're going to do, Mr. Producer Appler. Let's throw up one more time. Not actually throw up, but throw up the YouTube leaderboards, the top fan leaderboards. And we'll let 5 more minutes pass. Make sure that everybody gets their last second super chats in if they want, and then we will end today's stream. What do you guys think of today's show? Did you like it? Let me know in the comment section down below if you like today's show. Josh says nice, but Josh is a real one for sure. All right. YouTube's top fan, obviously Boss Man Jay is in the hell of a lead, but John comes in not as far behind as we would have originally thought.
Easily come in.
Well, standalone second. And then, of course, David is at 600 XP in a comfortable third. So this is your last chance to become the top fan on today's stream. Remember, it resets next time. So as of right now, Boss Man is the ultimate Broncos fan.
You said it resets next time?
It does reset next time. So it's not going to be like, it will not show up the same next time. So Boss Man will not be in first next week unless he comes in and does what he did this stream as well.
I gotcha. Did not know how these new rules work.
Josh is nice. Banger. Quick work. All right, 4 minutes left. If you guys have any other Broncos-related questions, use hashtag Broncos right now, and I will answer them for you while we get ready to end the show.
Oh, man.
Thank you, Joshua. We appreciate that. Denver Broncos fan said, good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to have heartburn now because Happy Dads give me heartburn. Try doing a boot.
James says, great show. Love the content. Thank you so much, James. I appreciate that. Shout out to you, my friend. And you know what? Let's give Alper a little round of applause. Spam Alper in the chat. We'll go W Alper in the chat. Alper stepped in on short notice to do the Broncos show today. Does an excellent job. And, if you feel so inclined to go check out some of his work, I know that he's not a Broncos fan, but he does do really well with the Patriots channel. So if you do want to go out, give him a like and check out some of his videos. He will absolutely show you a good time over there.
Yes, sir. We like to have a fun time. We go live Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Mountain Time, 4 p.m. Central.
Very nice.
And we do not hate the Broncos like we used to. This is not 2015 and 2013.
John did say you owe me 20 push-ups. I'll do 20 push-ups right now. I'll cash in on my bet as well.
Hold on. Don't start him yet. Do not start him yet. I got this. Hold on.
Or you're gonna put the camera on me?
Yes.
Well, at least let me get this fan on.
Hold on.
Sorry. I'm down below, by the way. Hi.
Hold on. All righty. I'm going to move the camera. All right. So you guys can see Moose do these push-ups.
Is it on me?
It is.
Okay, here we go. 20 push-ups.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 more. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19.
Damn, I was so close. 20 it is.
Oh, man.
Just like Joshua said, I'm turning into stew.
Stew?
Yeah, he said he's turning into stew because of all the sweat.
Oh. Shout out to you, James.
1 minute and 30 seconds left to get in your last minute super chats before we end today's stream. Shout out to everybody that did super chat and commented. Bossman Jay, John, David. If I'm forgetting anybody that sent in a super chat, that's on me. But those, I think, were the priorities and the number ones today. 47 days, Mr. Alper.
47?
47 days until football starts on Sunday.
Well,
43 days until the first NFL game is played.
We have 2 weeks until preseason.
44 days, sorry.
We have 2 weeks until preseason.
2 weeks until preseason. There is, by the way, an NFL football game in July.
Yes, there is.
A division rival. The Chargers play the Lions on July 31st in the Hall of Fame game. Here's AJ. Whew.
You're out of breath.
I know. I'm out of shape. He said, do you think Troy Franklin and Pat Bryant do a really good this season? And what do you think about Nate Adkins? Will he be a better fullback than Michael Burton when he retires? So I'm going to answer your first question by saying I think Troy Franklin will have a good season. I also think Pat Bryant will show excellent flashes of becoming the next Broncos, starting wide receiver. I don't know that it'll happen year one, but you will see flashes for sure. Excuse me. And then Nate Adkins being it's very rare that you get a tight end that, what are you laughing at over there?
You are breathing so hard.
I know. It's very rare that you get a tight end that can hybrid as a fullback. So I don't know that he'll be better than Michael Burton, but I do think that there's a chance that you see some really kind of cool packages with Nate Adkins this year. And I feel like having, or being able to play that hybrid fullback position, kind of like a Kyle Juszczyk does for the San Francisco 49ers, could be something that the Broncos try to explore with Nate Adkins.
If you want to get a perfect example of a tight end that could hybrid into a fullback, I'm not going to mention the tight end's name, but the Patriots did it back in 2012, and we saw that a lot. And it was, you had a 12 personnel, but you had Gronkowski on one side, and you had that specific tight end on the other side.
Gone forever?
Gone forever.
Aaron Hernandez.
Yep, and he would line up a lot of times, and he'd motion out into a fullback role, and with his speed and his athleticism, it helped a lot. So if the Broncos could use that kind of hybrid, it would help them a ton.
I completely agree. with you. Defensive Player of the Year from Michael, CBPS2. I'm excited that he is a Denver Bronco. Yeah, I think we all are. One of those players that I truly believe what he asks for, you pay him. If you're the number one at your position, you pay what they ask.
When is he eligible for an extension?
They just extended him.
Oh, they just did?
Yeah. Okay. So it's a while. It's going to be a while.
Well, Sauce...
not like they didn't extend him a month ago. You get my point.
Sauce reset the market.
Yes, he did. Sauce did reset the market. Okay. That's going to do it for us on today's Broncos Breakdown episode, our live show. We'll be back next Tuesday, but remember, we are going to be updating you every single day with Denver Broncos training camp news just for you. So remember, if you are still watching and you haven't liked or subscribed just yet, join the Broncos Breakdown family. We are growing something spectacular here. And remember, if you want to see live Broncos games, this is the place to do it. Well, if you want to join for our watch parties, that is, you could watch Broncos games on your television. But what fun is that when you can come hang out with me and maybe Alper on the ones and twos? Until next week, be cool.